Hello, we're Horsegirl, and we are going to show you some records that are important to us at HMV Records Shibuya. The record that changed my life is Kiss Me, Kiss Me, Kiss Me by The Cure. I feel like I was mostly, as like a young girl, kind of into like radio music. I just liked what was on the radio, and my mom actually really loves The Cure. And I think she would sometimes play it for me, and I remember being like 12 years old and kind of maybe starting to explore music on the internet on my own for the first time, and deciding to listen to The Cure because I had liked when my mom played it, and I realized that pop song structure and pop songs could kind of be presented in a more interesting way, and I think that this was like kind of the connection for me from like loving pop music as a kid to discovering alternative music, and like seeing how The Cure dressed and how strange they were, I think was just like a really important entry point for me into weird music as like a 12-year-old, 11-year-old kid. And I still love this band. Recently on Halloween, we all dressed up as The Cure and played like a Cure cover set in New York. So it's just a really important band to me, and I also think they play a bass six in this band sometimes, which is the instrument I play, so that was a cool thing to realize when I first started playing that instrument.
Agreed.
Yeah, we all love The Cure.
The first track on that album, I think, is life-changing in itself.
Yeah.
My pick is this one, Here Come the Warm Jets by Brian Eno, which I listened to when I was first like 16 or something. And I think that Brian Eno in this phase of Brian Eno, when he's more glammy before he went ambient, I think is so inspiring, and I feel like I only thought of Brian Eno as the ambient dude, but hearing the way that he produces and writes songs, I think was so influential for me, and he chooses very strange sounds, like on Cindy Tell Me, with such a like classic song structure, and it's a very like sweet song, but there's like the huge roaring cicada type sound, and I think that was one of the first songs on this record that I really connected to. And you can hear the whispers of like how he turned ambient like after this stuff. He's clearly just a genius in the studio.
Agreed.
So that's mine.
The record that changed my life is Marking Moon by Television. This was actually the first physical album that I bought with my own money. And I mean, I was like, I guess, kind of starting to be a more serious guitar player when I got into this album. And I mean, they're just like really crazy complex parts, but it doesn't like, the complexity doesn't take away from like the song at the core. I think I actually found out about this band because as I was like getting more into music, my mom was like, I think that I should do that too, and then she was playing Television in our kitchen. So she kind of like put it on my radar. So.
And I feel like the fact that you were into Television was a reason we became friends. Like it was all at a similar time.
Yeah.
That it was all.
I think that when I met Nora, I was like, this girl likes Television.
I still do.
Yep, to this day.
One album I wanted to talk about was The Gooder by the Feelies. I had mostly been familiar with the Feelies earlier stuff, but I did know some of The Gooder. And then I feel like around the time that we were writing this record, I have a very distinct memory of listening to that album on tour.
Someone very special introduced it to
us.
With
a dear friend of ours who's over there waving.
Our sound engineer.
And it was that moment of hearing an album and being like, this is like everything that's exciting to me right now. And I think that the arrangements, there's a lot of like really percussive acoustic guitars and these really melodic arrangements with percussion, which is something that we were exploring on this record for the first time. And it felt like a rock band kind of exploring different textures, and like just the atmosphere of that record is like really joyful to me. And it was like this beautiful moment just like driving down kind of like a nature-y road in America and being like, okay, this is interesting. And we had already been working on the album at that point, and it kind of just affirmed everything that was exciting to us that we had already started working on. So that was like a cool touchstone, I think.
Agreed. I would say my choice is The Power Out by Electrelane, which I think Electrelane is such an influential band to us. I think that they have something really special with the time period that they were making records, like in the 2000s, and you can tell that there's that influence from the 90s, but it's completely its own thing. And I think that the way they especially use the synth, I think, is really influential for us as we've started to bring that into our sound. So I really love them. I love that record. I also love No Shouts, No Calls. Yes. Yeah. And we all love Electrelane, and I think that it started to really take a hold of us as we were writing these songs, and while we were in the studio too. I think that their production is very interesting. Yeah.
I feel like Electrelane has the ability to write songs that can be like euphoric and almost like the emotional pull of those songs is very strong, but the presentation can be like really noisy.
Yeah.
So they like walk this line between being kind of like experimental, but it feels like you're listening to like a pop song, and it's experimental but not at the expense of like very emotional kind of compelling songs.
Yeah, not at the expense of anything.
Yeah, agreed.
And I love watching their live videos.
There's some very good live videos.
Yeah, I would have loved to see them live in that time. But yeah, that's my choice.
I have Loaded by the Velvet Underground, which we all really love this album. I'm just the one who's going to talk about it. And we were thinking a lot about this album while we recorded Phonetics On and On, both in like the sound of it, like just the way it is recorded, which is kind of like clean, I don't know.
Warm, clean.
Yeah, it's like warm and
scrappy.
Clean, but like not at the expense of the scrappiness that is just there in like the playing and the, vocal performances.
Like the pop structure, I feel like, is there in the songs.
It was definitely influential in like, I guess, our turn to pop.
Yes.
On this second album, just like these are like songs.
Yeah.
They've
Well
got
said.
like, I don't know, they have riffs and solos and like
A chorus,
and maybe even a bridge. And it like, even though it has all of these kind of conventional structures and stuff, it is still like very refreshing and new and like
freaky.
Definitely freaky.
Also, when we were recording, Kate LeBon kept using the words velvet's sensibility to just explain like anytime you were kind of tapping into a Velvet Underground-y thing, and I think any band ought to be thinking about the Velvet Underground while they're recording.
The Feelies certainly did.
Yes, it's true. I feel like in the last year I've gotten really into jazz music, which has been a really different relationship for me to listening to music, to putting music on in my house. I grew up with a lot of jazz music. My dad likes jazz a lot, and when I first moved to New York, I asked him to send me jazz records, and he sent me Herbie Hancock, and this was a record that really got me into listening to jazz, and I feel like it's just like a different atmosphere than listening to indie rock music, and kind of like I appreciate different things about this record than when I'm listening to like the Feelies or something. I don't know, I just appreciate it in the sense of like I could never give a performance like this, and the atmosphere in my house when I play this record is just like incredible. And similarly, the other record I wanted to talk about was East and West by Anna Domino, which is also just like an incredibly atmospheric record for me that I have been like just obsessed with in the last year. Anytime I put it on anywhere, like the mood is just kind of like perfect, and in the morning when I'm cooking, that's kind of how I feel about like this record as well. It's just kind of like an incredible, it like transforms the space that it's in. And Anna Domino was also kind of a reference for us while recording, and her arrangements are incredibly minimal, and the sounds, it'll just be like a muted guitar being scraped over this very off-kilter pop song, and that was something that we are interested in. And yeah, she's just like incredibly moody here.
The single string guitar solo.
Yes!
Is a big thing on that record.
Totally.
Yeah, she's experimental without compromising like the emotion of those songs and the mood of those songs.
A theme for us, I would say.
Yes,
across everything we're
definitely.
interested in.
This is my first choice, which I feel like anybody that was tapped into indie rock in the past year would say similarly, because I think that this record kind of, for me at least, came out of nowhere, and it wasn't on any streaming services. You had to get it physically or just like download it off of her website, and I think that that is really cool in the age of how people listen to music now. I think that it was very like countercultural and like kind of revolutionary for her to do that, and we really love the band Women. That I feel like has been an important band for us, like as we moved to New York, and I think that this record just like, obviously Cindy Lee used to be in Women, and I think that you hear that through this record, but the emotion in Cindy Lee's music is something that I think like Women didn't really touch on in that way.
Talk about the project you and Jesse just embarked on.
Oh yes, well, our sound engineer / tour manager Jesse, who introduced us to the Good Earth, who at this point probably revealing himself to be very important to us. Him and I have just made like a quadrant system of each song that's in the Cindy Lee record. Yeah, so it's like 4 quadrants. Going between
X and Y axis.
Yes, going between these different unique categories we developed in studying this record. So we listened to it and this is a double record, it's very long. And we listened to it twice on our last tour. Just and we would pause after the song was over and just discuss the song wholeheartedly. And half of it, for the first half, Nora was helping us and Penelope was asleep. And then the second disc, Penelope was helping us and Nora was asleep. So this record recently, now it's that I've studied it in that way. It has a whole new meaning to me. And I feel like I could tell you about each and every song on this record in kind of a detailed way. And I really love it.
It's boring in the band.
Yeah, it gets pretty boring on tour. But yeah, I think that this record will remain important to me, for the foreseeable future. And then that was a lot about that one, but my second record I chose. Yeah, very cool. Hunky Dory by David Bowie. I've been listening to a lot of David Bowie. I feel like I'm kind of entering a bit of a glam moment in my life. But this record particularly, I've been putting it on in our apartment.
His face is on our mantle.
Yeah, his face is on our mantle. Here's a lot of very interesting photos of him inside that we hang around our house. But my CD of it just broke, so I need to, get a different one. Need to find a new way of listening to it. But yeah, really love David Bowie, always and forever.
I, as well as I think all of us, have really loved the album Tridecoder by La Luna.
Oh.
Which is it's electronic from the 2000s, very early 2000s, I think. But what I really like about it is that it is electronic, but it also has elements of real instruments. It kind of uses real drums. You hear real hi-hat and snare at certain parts, but it's also it feels very this kind of it's an electronic album, but it has these very real elements that kind of make it feel very, I don't know, it kind of has this beautiful indie rock thing going on.
It's a little janky.
Yeah, and it definitely helps with the jankiness. It's not drum machines with no soul. And also the woman singing just has a very nice voice that feels it's a cool, like I feel like there's just a lot of counterpoints going on with like the electronics and the female vocals and then the like physical instruments. And it's just like very nice, especially I feel like at night. It like really suits the nighttime.
Yes. I think sorry. But I think that it is like electronic music that feels like a band could be playing it.
Yeah, performing. Yes. And the second album I want to talk about is Heart Songs by Moondog, which we also had a good time listening to in the van on our last American tour. And it's mostly just this very old man, him accompanied by like just him playing the piano. And they're very complex piano parts, but they also like feel very percussive kind of, and you can like kind of hear the room. And it feels kind of like these songs just like spew out of him, and all of these flourishes on the piano are like so natural, even though there's like so much going on, and it feels like for anyone else it would have to be like a very calculated part to learn and play and write. But for him it's just like that's where his fingers go, and he's like singing about, you know, it's very playful and like folkloric. And
do you agree that he's like ultra outsidery John Cale?
That makes sense.
I feel like those are often like back-to-back listens for me. Like John Cale just sends me in the Moondog direction.
Wow. Yeah. Interesting. I never thought about it.
Maybe
that way.
that's totally doesn't make sense. But
He is, but definitely ultra outsidery and
like he just can't help what he's making.
he lived the artist's life for sure. He's like living on the street of New York for a long time.
being a poet.
Dressed as a Viking.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all of them. Awesome. Thank you guys.
Thanks for watching. We're Horsegirl.
Yeah, we're Horsegirl.
Thank you.
We're happy to be here.
See you again.
Yes.